But Jesus takes this and turns it on its head when he said, let me tell you about the meek. They'll inherit the earth.
Yeah.
Look, there's a rabbit hole coming later. Because look, I have been
now Jase is letting us know early about this.
Well,
these are rabbit holes to be found later.
I don't want to hijack this episode Al's doing his sermon. He sent me the sermon, and I looked down, and he put the date. He had the year wrong.
I had 25 instead of 26.
So
Jase just quit reading. He thought,
I never read it.
That's fake news.
I'm sure it was great, but I thought Al's gotten to an age where he's sending me sermons from a year ago, and because it was on 1 John, I'm like, well, we did that last year. So I just
what's bad is I didn't even realize until I got here this morning that I'd done that. The last sermon I preached, Zach, on Mother's Day, when I sent my notes, because I just take a sermon from before and then I put the new stuff in there, but you got to watch it because you leave old dates and stuff. It had Easter Sunday on it. Well, it was Mother's Day. So Clay McConnell's like, Al, you sent, is this for this Sunday or is this for last Easter? And I was like, what is wrong with me? I'm getting old.
All right, well, let me just give you a thumbnail of the rabbit hole because I want you to study first and then we'll bring it up. All right? Because this
lets you know that Jase not only has rabbit holes that he finds just in walking the lands, but he now thinks about rabbit holes he wants to find as he's walking.
Well, I took it as a sign. I wanted to read that Isaiah 61 so much, but it had a little phrase in there about inheriting the land. And so you think there's a story in there about the Israelites getting the promised land. Well, when you get to the Sermon on the Mount, have you ever noticed? I read it a while ago, and look, we've heard that we're so familiar with this that I think we're not shocked by what it says.
Yeah.
So we'll all agree that Jesus is introducing a new creation. He came here and said, there's a new kingdom.
Yep.
There's a new creation on earth.
Yep.
Now here's what it's about,
yep.
Right? Well, how shocking is this verse in verse 5 of 5, where it says, blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Wait, what? Now, we got the next part where it says, verse 12, great is your reward in heaven. Well, which is it?
How do you inherit something you already have?
Well, I'm saying there's something, we got inheritance in heaven. Right. I'm familiar with that line of thinking. But he said we'll inherit the earth. Not some land, the earth.
Yeah.
So what's funny is Missy walked by. This is just thumbnail of the rabbit hole. And I said, I've been looking at land a lot different lately. And she said, what do you mean? We own some land. I was like, I know. And I said, just think of all the statements where people say, well, you better, if you have some land, they're not making any more of it. I've heard that.
Yeah.
But I know the one who does make it, so he might make some more. That's another point. And I read this verse to her, and she said, I have been thinking the same thing. So that's when I went on the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And so I said, do yourself a favor, and here's my thumbnail sketch. Read Psalm 37. Read Psalm 37. I just read Isaiah 61 where he has that statement in it, and then you read this. So you read Psalm 37, and the next time we get on the true rabbit hole, this is just a thumbnail, because it says that about at least a half a dozen times in various forms.
Yeah.
I wanted to say this. I left a cliffhanger a couple of podcasts ago about the meek inheriting the earth. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, I got that because when I read James 1, 9 through 11, it says, the brother in humble circumstances ought to take pride in his high position, but the one who is rich should take pride in his low position, because he will pass away like a wild flower. For the sun rises with scorching heat and withers the plant. Its blossom falls and its beauty is destroyed. And you're like, oh, what kind of imagery is this? Well, we have a garden and a plants and too much sun and ooh. In the same way, the rich man will fade away even while he goes about his business. But blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life. Think king, think kingdom. And you see numerous illustrations from Jesus about plants and the parable of the sower and the field. So when you read Psalm 37, which is what I said to go do in between then and now, watch this. He says, because I know James got this from right here, because the first verse says, do not fret because of evil men or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass, they will soon wither.
Yep.
Like green plants, they will soon die. So, okay, so I've made the connection. He obviously was thinking about this.
Yep. So was Peter. He says the same thing in 1 Peter 2.
And so then he's like, trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. So you have all this creation, garden, Jesus launches the new creation, the kingdom is here. Think crown. I'll give you the crown of life. You have Psalm 37. Here's what I found fascinating. 5 other times in Psalm 37, in verse 9, it says, for evil men will be cut off, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. Mm-hmm. Verse 11, but the meek will inherit the land and enjoy great peace. So you realize everything in the Old Testament becomes a shadow for what Jesus accomplished, from the promised land, the freedom from oppression, liberation day for them, freedom in Christ for us. But here it's like, you think the promised land, and people still make a big deal about, Israel, the land itself.
Yeah.
I know people that think when Jesus comes back, he's going there, so we all got to load up and go over there somehow or another, because they're reading these kind of verses. But Jesus takes this and turns it on its head when he said, let me tell you about the meek. They'll inherit the earth.
Yeah.
Which makes me think when people get off on this about the promised land and certain aspects of it, I'm thinking, you missed the fulfillment of this in Jesus.
Yeah.
Go ahead, head over there. I'm going to take the whole earth.
Yeah.
And so the last verses on that, verse 22, for those blessed by him shall inherit the land, but those cursed by him shall be cut off. 29, the righteous shall inherit the land and dwell in it forever. Ooh, we have a little shadow here from the Psalmist. And verse 34, wait on the Lord, keep his way, and he shall exalt you to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, you shall see it. I think, is that the last verse in there? No, I wanted to read the last verse of it. Yeah, that was it. Then the last 2 verses. The salvation of the righteous comes from the Lord. He is their stronghold in time of trouble. This James started in trouble. The Lord helps them and delivers them. He delivers them from the wicked and saves them because they take refuge in him.
Yeah.
It all comes together there.
There's a verse somewhere, I have to look it up, we're out of time, but I think it's in Numbers that said Moses was the meekest man on the earth in his day. And that was before they wound up taking the promised land. To your point, another shadow.
And the last thing I'll say is, and remember, he said we'll inherit. Yeah. It's a gift. This is a gift.
That's right.
And you say, what is the crown that Jesus is offering you? Life.
Yeah.
Forever.
Right.
And you get land.
A lot of
So the next time you see a beautiful patch of land, you think, okay, yeah, that's mine. You can stay there. I know you think you own it, but I'm with the one who created it.
Not this life. That's right. I like it.